Hey guys, in this video I'm not really going to be doing much in our tutorial world. I'm going to be showing you how to import objects into UDK for you to use them in your own level. Like say you made some music or something to use as like some background music. I'm going to be showing you how to actually get that into this menu for you to be able to use. So you can import, textures, pictures, music, pretty much everything, static meshes, trees, all that kind of stuff that you would need to use into a level can be done in this way. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to stick with some music. And in reality, it's a little bit more complicated, which is kind of good because I wanted to show kind of a long drawn out process of doing it. So sometimes you might not get it in the right file type that you need. So if you begin importing something, just go down here and click the import button down here. Now it'll bring up the UDK game and then the content. You'll be in UDK game content menu. Now that's the default, but you're not really going to find anything in here to be able to import because all the stuff in here is already imported, unless of course you save something in here. All you have to do really is just go over here, and I'm going to import some music. However, if you notice, I don't have any music in here. Now if I bring up, here is the same file. Whoops. Now here's a bunch of music I have in this particular folder, but it's all saved in the MP3 file type, which is not compatible. Now here, if you click this, you can list exactly, all the different stuff that it's compatible with. And if you go down here, you can see it's compatible with WAV or WAV. So, you've got the two types of WAV there. But the only kinds that it's compatible with it. So, you would have to render out your sound in a different file type. Well, there's a program that you can use to do this, and it's a free download. Now, all you have to do is go and Google, it's Audacity is what it's called. So this is Audacity, and it's free. It doesn't really have a lot of stuff, but it's good for making for doing some basic editing to some sound and then rendering it out. So here's a song that I have, which is this one right here. This song right here. I have put into Audacity right here, and this is it rendered out in the thing. It's a short song, but it's good for it's called exciting trailer because it is pretty good song for like having a good exciting trailer for like a movie or something. That if you were doing a trailer for your game. I said movie, I meant game. If you're doing like a trailer for a game, you could have this playing as a music background while you're doing camera swoops around various levels and stuff. So to render this out, once we have this in here, you can just go to export, and then it'll have it automatically saved wherever the file that you imported into this was saved at. So you can just, and if you notice, there's no WAVs already there. So you can just name it whatever you want, and then you just click save. Now with with Audacity, the only problem is a lot of times you don't actually have a lot of the codecs, but it does actually have a codec for WAV. So if you want to save it in other file types, it typically won't have a codec for that. You'll have to go download those. So all we have to do now is just click OK, and it exports it, and voila, there it is in our import. And this is UDK. This is another file. This is the UDK. There's a UDK symbol there, and so there it shows it. And so all we have to do is just double click it, and now here comes the slightly confusing, more difficult part. What you have to do is you save it. You my package. Now you could name this whatever you want, and if you really got in here and wanted to organize all of this stuff, like if you were actually making a game or something and you wanted to organize it so that it would be just so and you could find stuff easily, you would name this whatever you wanted it to. Now I'll quickly go over, well, that's not going to actually work. I'll just name this my package, and basically these are your three packages. You've got engine, UDK game, and new packages. So the UDK game is basically Unreal Tournament stuff. That's all the Unreal Tournament stuff, and then the engine is just some basic stuff that comes, that's like in the engine, and some stuff that comes with it. So like the lighting textures for the actual lighting bulb thing, that's like in the engine, and the new packages would be wherever this would contain new packages, and you would organize this just how you would have it. And then grouping, now you could look, and so and here's some more packages. I'll get into, I'll have to show you after I've actually gone through this, because it won't allow me to click on anything, but I'll just name it that, and then I'll click OK. It contains a valid character. Okay. It doesn't allow spaces, so you'd have to put that if okay, there we go. And so okay, so you have your main, basically these are your three parents, okay, and then wherever you save stuff it'll go, and then you have multiple things here, and these are from these two things. I don't even know why those are there, so you could delete those if you wanted to. I'll just won't allow me to delete them. I don't understand why. But you know, basically you can kind of organize this a little more. So if I were to click in UDK content, there's another folder, and then content, and then maps, examples, and then here's some stuff under here. Now it doesn't actually list anything. So, but those are the packages, like the path files for those. Now a better thing would be to go to engine and then click on this content. Now of course if you open that up, you click on content and it shows you everything, but then you can go and it says editor materials. You open that up again, cascade, cover icons, matinee, stuff like that, and you can kind of see how it organizes it. So you can go in here and kind of mess around with the organization and get it like that. And that's what I just wanted to kind of tell you that, so whenever you're saving files you'll kind of have an idea of the way it saves it. So anyway, here's our thing that we have. If we double click it, we can play it. Okay, so you can hear it playing. Okay, and so then you can just right click and do stop sound, and so there's our little our song there. And by the way, just for copyright reasons, this song is I did get from a free site. The guy that made this, he has just a bunch of free songs listed that you can just download off the internet. So it's made by Kevin McLeod, and if you, I'll link his website in the description, and he has a bunch of songs that you can just go and download. So this isn't like, I didn't like download this illegally or buy it or anything. It is a free song that you can go download if you wanted to do this, get this exact song. But that aside, now one thing to note is in this particular form, you're not actually going to be able to use it in the level, because if you notice, if we go click all assets, you have, if you look carefully, you see you have A bio rifle fire impact explode 02, and then you have A bio rifle fire impact explode Q. Now why would you have the same thing? It's the same sound, but they are in two different forms. Now why would you do that? Okay, what the reason is because sound cues are basically a bunch of sound waves combined into one. So what you do is you create these sound cues. So like if you have a sound effect that plays, like if a player is walking or something, and he walks on a certain kind of material, but it's like, you know, a burning, then you would have like a burning kind of sound along with the actual walking and or maybe, you know, pain sounds, all, and you have those individually. You wouldn't actually go and combine those together outside. You could if you wanted to, but there's actually a sound editor in game, which I'll show you in a minute, so that you can actually make those kind of get together like you want them, and you put all those different sound node waves together and it forms a sound cue, which can be used in game. You cannot use sound node waves in game. You can only use sound cues. It's very important to note. So sometimes you will have to go around and convert things to the correct forms, like static meshes and stuff sometimes have to be converted. So sound node wave, if you want to make this into a sound cue, you can actually edit using the sound previewer, and actually that's not actually going to do anything because that's not the right one I was thinking of. Let's see. There is a thing here. Oh, yeah, that's right. On importing this in, what you have to do is look, yes, there we go. Okay, so you can click this to make it auto create a cue. If you have to expand the options here, then you just check that box and it'll make a cue for this. So a sound cue, not a sound node wave, so that it can be used in game. And then the cue volume, you can adjust. You have a few options in here, and I'm just going to leave all of those off, and I'll just show you how to actually add those in. Do not like the fact that it does not allow spaces, but that's okay. You're about to an existing sound. Yes, and that is fine. Now if we play this, it's the same sound, but it can be used in game. Okay, so I'm going to go and use edit using sound cue editor. Now notice that we did not have that. We have edit using sound previewer. So that's a different thing. Now if we do edit using sound editor, this brings this window up right here. And so and this is kind of like, you know, you had the static mesh editor, and so this is the sound editor, and there's editors for lots of things. You have the particle mesh editor, which I'll get into that later on when we start adding particle meshes in. And this is the sound editor, which I may or may not, yeah, I might as well go ahead and jump into it. We're right here. But let's see, so that you have your volume multiplier, which you can adjust, which is good because this allows you to adjust this particular sound. This, like, instead of having to adjust the in-game volume, it allows you to adjust this particular sound in relation to the other sounds. The pitch multiplier, so you can have the pitch higher up. So if I do this and then play it, it's a little higher pitched and it's a little faster. So you can actually have some good control over how, you know, you edit these by using that a little bit. I'm going to set that to 1. Okay, and then play count. Okay. Now, there's only so much you do with just this. Now, if you this is actually your sound node wave that is attached to. This is basically the main cue. This is your finished product right here, and it's kind of like Kismet in a way. So you can just drag this around and you can add more waves if you do like right click and actually yeah, you have to like go out and select a wave and you can bring it in here, kind of like you would with the with Kismet. But you can click on this and then you can have some more options over this particular wave, and you can click mature if it's labeled as like a mature thing, if it's got like, you know, something that you wouldn't want 7-year-old kids listening to or something. And then you can actually edit the individual volume and pitch of this wave and then the finished product as a whole. So do keep that in mind. Now you can also right click and then add these different nodes, so like a delay, looping, let's see, random. If you were to add this in here, it would start playing these, like it would pick at random these songs. And I'll show you an example of this here in a minute. But you would connect this to here, and you connect this to here, and then if you had another wave, sound node wave, you would connect it to here, and you can have more and more. You can actually expand this out. You know, it shows 2 right now, but there are more of them. Add input, add input, add input, and so you can add more inputs. But this doesn't really have a lot of options. But you can, what this will do is this will pick at random. Like and what this allows. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm jumping from one thing. This, if you add more waves, sound node waves, sounds, sound effects, whatever. Like, you know, you have wind. You can add like varying different types of wind sounds, and this or this module will pick them at random and play them randomly. Now, what these allow you to do is set the likelihood of it being played. So right now, all of them are set to the same amount, and so it's the same likelihood that they could all be picked. So if you were to set 1 to 2, it's like 2 times more likely to be picked from the random, you know, from this random module. Other than that, there's really not very many options. Randomize without replacement, you know, and that's what the tooltip says, so you can read that if you want to. But other than that, there's like, you know, attenuation, there's, you know, distance crossfade. You can crossfade objects, and what's cool is you can just put these in different orders, so certain things will have this property about them while others won't, so you could crossfade these 2 together while these other 2 sounds aren't being crossfaded, and do all this kind of cool stuff if you mess around with it. And then I'll just delete these. And really they do exactly what these say. Looping would just allow you to loop, you know, forever the song, and or you know, sound effect or something. So I'm gonna go and just delete this one. And honestly, sometimes you just have one node and it's just, you know, single thing like that if it's like a background sound. So I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to search wind, and I gotta click all assets, but let's see, I want sound cues. Whoops, I thought that would stop whenever I opened up that window. But okay, so there's some different wind sounds. Now I want you to have a look at this. Here's the attenuation, and it's attenuating this, and I'm not sure exactly, honestly, what attenuation is. I don't really mess with the sound editor hardly at all because I've never really needed to edit the sound much. But they've also got looping, and then here's your song. Now I thought this would have multiple parts to it, so let me open up this one. No, that's almost the same thing. and that is almost the same thing as well. So let me do, let's see, some of these are just like single things. I'm trying to find like a certain, I'll just search all sound cues. Let's see, let's look at this one. No, that's almost the same thing. And that's just a single one. See, a lot of these don't actually have a lot of fancy stuff to it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is this one right here. Okay, so I played that several times and it was a little bit different each time. Now the way this works is you have a modulator here, and so it has a minimum and a maximum pitch, which it'll modulate, it'll pick at random a number between 1.05 and 0.95 to have the pitch at. And then of course you have your attenuation. I'll have to go look up what exactly that does. I've never really used much of this, like I've said. But then you have your minimum and maximum volume, so you can have them smaller and louder. And then random, it randomly picks one of these sounds. If I double click this, that's that sound. And there's that sound. So basically what this does is it increases the sounds that you'll get from this. So every time this is played in game, it'll be a little bit different each time. So it may pick this one and have the volume, the modulation may be 1.0, and then the attenuation will be whatever it is, and then next time it could be this same sound, but the modulation could be like 0.95 with a volume of 1.05, and the next time it could be this one with the same modulation, but then it could be this, this one next time with a different modulation. And so you get the idea. And each one of these that you add, it'll just randomly pick one of these. I wanted to give you an example of this that was, in game. So every time I click this, it should sound a little bit different. The pitch was lower that time. There's a different sound. So you get the idea. You get the idea. And so that's pretty much importing sounds in the sound editor. Now if you wanted to import something else, of course, I'll just show this real quickly. You go to like pictures or something, and you could do like here's some various things that I've got from like some Minecraft screenshots and stuff. You could just click one of these, import that in, and there you go. You can already import that one in because it's already saved as like a a JPEG file or something. And you could actually use that, like you could put that as like a texture 2D like on a wall, and so that could be some painting or something. I don't know. And so it's really simple. Once you know how to do it, it's really simple. But not knowing how to do it, it can be kind of confusing, because I actually imported a sound in here, but I didn't know that how to like make it a sound cue. So and then you just have to make sure you go in here and you just look to see what the file types are. And you can, if somebody else were to like make some Unreal object, then they could give it to you like on a flash drive, and then you could import that into your thing, and you would have it. And these are all saved in your computer, just FYI. So it's not like it just saves it in game here, and the only way for you to access it is in game. You can go to it through like content, and you just kind of go narrow down your search. If you go to, let's see, UDK, and you go to I think it's engine, content, maps, templates. No. What is it? UDK game, content, and here you go. You got your maps, your various maps, mobile things, and you've got all these different things that are saved in here, and it's looking for specifically these three things, or not these three things, but all these different things. So it's not really going to show up on a lot of this stuff, because some of this is maps, and some of this is saved in different files. But because whenever you put it into here, it takes it and saves it in its own file type, so it might not be looking for those. But I mean, you can just go through here and look at all the different things. It is saved on your computer if you needed to like import it into some other program. But that's relatively simple rundown on how to import objects. So I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.